Good morning, everybody. April here with Medwell Unscripted. Happy Thursday, one of Emily and I's favorite day of the week here. We're really excited. We are on we're already a month out, right, Emily? We're like
Yes,
5 weeks.
hard to believe.
Yeah. So my friends, just some housekeeping as we get started. We are streaming live to not only Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn. We have multiple pages, so welcome one and all. We are powered in partnership with Doc MJ, and we are a medical marijuana certification doctor's office. Sorry, like I'm stumbling over my words here. We service patients in Massachusetts, Florida, Georgia, coming soon to Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Texas. So if there's anything that we can do for you to help you answer any of your medical cannabis questions, please drop by medwellhealth.net or docmj.com, and we're happy to help out. So our Medwell Unscripted series, again, is live. If you are catching the replay, feel free to drop a comment after. We will absolutely get back to you, or as well as a question. So Emily and I have been doing a series really kind of focusing in on seniors, boomers, and really talking about cannabis and how it helps with their overall wellness. I'm really excited today because today we're talking about culinary treats. Who doesn't like culinary treats, right?
I have no idea.
And we have a special guest. We have Michael Villaronga with Garden Remedies, who is a platinum partner of ours. And we're really excited to be talking about edibles, the process, and how it really can help with your overall wellness and well-being. So welcome, Michael. How are you today?
Good morning. Welcome. Thank you, ladies, for the welcome. I'm doing great today.
Awesome.
That's great.
So as we get started, I just want to my partner in crime here, Emily. She is our director of community outreach, and she's out and about in the community, talking with patients and potential patients about the benefits of medical cannabis. And she's always busy and probably in the community very close to you. So Emily, what have you been up to these past few days? Last week was a busy week, 420
Oh,
week.
yes, we love 420. It is so much fun. And it was a blast being at Basque last week. They always certainly know how to throw a grand celebration to celebrate all the fun things that are going on. And yes, you can certainly find me. If you ever need to get a hold of me, please feel free to reach out anytime. Certainly, there's easy ways to track me down if you have questions. You need specific answers on how to obtain your medical card in any of the states that April mentioned. It's been an absolute pleasure being able to partner with Doc MJ so that we can just spread our education and outreach as much as we can so that you would get those answers to be able to think about if cannabis is right for you or not. And so it's been an absolute pleasure to be able to continue this series and focus on our friends that are our senior friends, our boomer friends that might have some questions, might be interested in whether or not this is something that would be, an option. So that's what we're here for, April, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Awesome. So again, I want to welcome Michael Villaronga. He's with Garden Remedies. He is a sous chef there. Michael, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm just like your average smoker. I started when I was young, when I was a teenager, tried it out and thought it was nice, and kept it going throughout the years until around 2015 when I found out I had cancer. That's the reason why my voice sounded like this. I had throat cancer, stage 3 squamous cell. Got in there and figured out, started doing treatments. I had to do radiation and chemo, and I just kept remembering how they would tell me, you got to be able to pick yourself up, and you're going to need to get yourself an appetite, because I had lost almost, I think it was like 74 pounds.
Wow.
Within 30 days. It was gone just like that. And my brother came in, and marijuana was just getting ready to come here in Mass. It was the store hadn't opened yet in Northampton, but he had found out that it was open in other places, and he figured out maybe you need to try some things. And I started trying oil, while I was going through treatment to get an appetite. because I couldn't eat through the mouth. I had to through a G tube, and went through treatment. Got out of treatment, and they wanted to start giving you all these different pills, and that wasn't the route that I wanted to take, because my mom had cancer, and you know, from those boomers back then, they think that the doctor knows best with 20, 30 pills a day. And I just didn't want to go down that route. And I got into cannabis because it was just coming. It came to Northampton. I drove the hour and a half to Northampton and sat out there for about 3 hours to talk to a bunch of CAs and figure out what I can do. You know I had smoked marijuana before, but I really needed something to enhance me and make me pick myself up, because I was kind of depressed, hadn't eaten. And I think the cannabis I think it's the greatest thing on this earth. I think we just need to figure out a way to get it to the masses and let them know that these some of these pharmacy drugs that they're making are not good for us. You know, it kind of dwindles down the health when you can really just get a plant and go to town with it in so many different ways. And being a chef with marijuana is like it's like an added bonus, because I get the R&D, or I get to experiment with flavors and things of that nature, you know. So that's the best thing about the cannabis that has brought me into it, really. I don't do any prescription drugs. I think the last thing I took was a Flexerol, only because of my neck. Now I always have neck problems, the tightness and everything. But yeah, I don't like to do anything else besides. I don't like Tylenol. I don't like anything too much going in the body. I don't, just the marijuana and water.
Wow.
All right.
That's quite a story, Michael.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so that's kind of how you got your, I guess, foot in the door in the cannabis industry. Tell us how you became kind of a sous chef. You know, I think that's one of those things where, you know, the background, I guess, that I don't think people realize kind of what goes into it. So it's one thing to use cannabis for medicinal purposes, but it's another thing to kind of learn how to make edibles, create edibles, and become a sous chef.
Well, the funny thing, guys, is that my boss, who was also my best friend, we went to the Cordon Bleu together in 2012 to 2015, right before I caught cancer. And we always talked in class, you know, about how marijuana was coming and we were going to be these marijuana chefs. I caught cancer in 15. He got the job here in 16 of November. And they asked him, what did you need to succeed here at Garden Remedies? And I need Chef Blue, Michael Villaronga. If you can get him, we can do it. Hence, 6 years later, I'm here. We're here now. And it's been amazing. It's been amazing. This is how I got my foot in the door of cannabis. The sous chef part of it came because one of us always said if we got in there, we would come and get the other one. We've made it a team here. I mean, anybody that knows Garden Remedies knows Chef Blue and Chef Chris. I mean, we are the edibles guys of the state. We were here.
That's amazing. That's
so what
great.
What do they call you, Chef Blue?
I'm
Is
Chef
that what
Blue.
you
Yeah, I'm Chef Blue. Yeah.
said? Blue. How'd you get that name?
I went to Le Cordon Bleu, and blue is my favorite color. So everything I wear is blue. The blue is I even ordered me blue coveralls because I like the blue. It's a happy color. You know, it's always happy.
So what kind of skills did you have to learn to kind of make edibles in terms of being able to measure certain quantities of cannabis and THC and cannabinoids and all that good stuff?
Well, the thing was, I had to make sure I was able to adjust, because now we're not cooking food on the line. Now we're going and we're doing almost, let's say, manufacturing, and we're doing manufacturing. I would say the manufacturing is almost like the baking. When you bake, you can't miss a step. You can't add on to it. It needs to be exact, and that's it. When it comes to making edibles, you need to be exact, and you need to make sure you're doing the right dosage. It's a lot of R&D. I guess that would be the best thing I can tell you. R&D, trial and error. I guess the best advice I can give somebody is to know your potency before you start to make your edible. make sure you got the formulation. There's basically one formulation to this whole process, whether it's here in Mass, California, China, Asia, anywhere you name, the formula is the same. You have to do this to do that in order to get a result. It's just that simple. I think people I think they don't like the longevity of the wait up until the kick in, as we say around here. They wait on the kick in, and some people don't have the patience. But if you start with things small, and I mean when I say small, I mean like household things. I would advise people to dose what you eat. Don't try to go out the norm. Stay with what you know. Always ask questions. Call people like people at Medwell. Stop and see a CA. Things of that nature.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you find is the most popular edible?
Well, when you say
and obviously, hold on one second, Michael. And I do want to preface this, friends, that we are streaming to multiple states. So every state is a little bit different in terms of what they offer in terms of edibles. Right. I'm in Connecticut, and I know that my choice of edibles here is much smaller than it is in Massachusetts. And I know Florida is a little bit different. So
right.
What your experience there in Mass, what is the kind of the favorite edible that you are most popular, I guess?
Well, the most popular here in the state of Mass would be chews or gummies. That's like the number one thing. And here at Garden Remedies, we have ours. We do I wanted to make sure I bring you out a sativa. We do it's almost like a night and day we do.
Yeah.
And we also have a hybrid as well. But my thing for the edibles, as far as when you ask about the favorites and the number ones, it all goes on age bracket, to me. Yeah. Because people in my age bracket, and I'm 54, I tend to deal with more people who like to have salads. The sugars are too much for them at our ages. It's just literally too much. It's just sugar and gelatin and water. And that's about every gummy out there or every chew. And that's a little bit too much for us sometimes. Raises the blood pressure up. So I'm into more oils and things of that nature, teas, coffees, a little bit. We also working on a NutraSweet that's medicated. I've already done the agave and the regular sugar and the raw. So I tend to do more things like that. As far as the younger age brackets, the chews, and now I notice that they have a lot of elixirs out here now. A lot of people drink also the cannabis drinks. I just feel like those are not dedicated, or those are not for the people of an older age, because that is not what we are into right now. We're more in the health conscious, salads, proteins, vegetables, farm to table things. That's what I deal with mostly. My boss, on the other hand, he's into the gummies, the cakes, the pies, so it's all in the age bracket thing, if you ask me.
Yeah. I would agree with you.
Yeah.
In terms of, I noticed, when you go and purchase an edible at the dispensary, a lot of times there's kind of an expiration date. Like, what is a typical shelf life of a gummy, for example, or a cookie? And how is that estimated?
So when you talk about shelf life on things, we usually can make things last a year. That's because it's packaged. If there's no air, then you're holding it. You can hold it for a year. My thing about the packaging and the edibles, and the only thing I see a problem with in the industry is that we tend to overproduce, and that's just not us. It's not that it's a bad thing, but it's not also this a good thing, because you overproduce a lot. And then if it doesn't make the move, or it's a new product you're trying, then you kind of lost out. And what I mean when you lost out, you lost on monetary money that could have been used for something else. That was what we had started when we first started Garden Remedies. We were all across the board. We were all just making things. Now we tone down and we make what we need, not what's on demand, because what's on demand on Monday might not be the same on Tuesday or Wednesday.
Right.
So the shelf life thing is you do it as needed. And when you look at these dates and things, I want to make sure people understand that if it's a year, It's truly a year. It's really not. We don't have time to as they say, BS you in this neighborhood here. You know, this is going inside your body.
Mm-hmm.
But come back to me if it's all messed up.
Right.
So when you're talking, so I guess, you know, like, does it change the potency, like as a date? Is that what changes,
God,
or it's
no.
just a matter of it being good?
No.
Like, can you, yeah, go ahead.
No, young lady, listen, nothing changes, but
Young
maybe.
lady, I love this, Michael. I knew we were going to be good.
We'll take young lady any day.
No, listen, it's, potency doesn't change in anything. It's just like, I think we get away from, it's just like regular food. If it sits out, if you open the pack and you leave it out, it's going to get hard. Nothing's going to change the potency, not but the texture, and it probably will spoil. If it's closed and it's sealed, nothing's going to happen. It all stays there. But we all know over time, this room would change in temperature. We have 4 seasons here. So by the time these seasons go, if this just sat here, it's not going to be the same quality, as we'd say, as it was on day 1, as on day 250. If it just sat out here in the heat, or sat because this room would change temperatures. That's the one thing. Listen, that was one of the problems we ran into this morning when our rooms had the heat started coming on. One of the rooms, the air conditioner dropped. So it's all hands on deck, and we had to move. We had to remove tubes out of one room and put them in another. So those are the things that you deal with. You never lose potency. You just it's quality. That's what it'll always be. It'll be quality.
Gotcha.
So, Michael, we've been talking a lot about, you know, really trying to educate and bring awareness to kind of our seniors. And so if you were to share some advice with a senior about how to get started with edibles, is there a certain one you recommend, or kind of a recommended even dosage, or where to start? What advice could you give to a boomer about edibles?
The first thing, I would sit down and talk, and I do this all the time, ladies. Someone's always calling about their mom or their grandmom or their dad.
Yeah.
My thing is, I get down and I figure out what's the issue first. You know, do you have diabetes? Are you close? You're borderline? Is it high blood pressure? You have some people have gout. Some people have tendonitis. You know, there's certain things you need for certain parts of your body. And then once we do that, then I go to working on what do you like to eat, because I like distillate. I don't like the taste of marijuana. I say it like that. Most, you know, you look at younger, maybe 35 down, they want to taste the RSO, the hash, and all that. 35 and up, Blue, that was phenomenal. That sauce you made, I would have never known. You know, I'm more into that. So then I started taking them from there. I find out what they eat, and I'm always promoting low dose first.
Yeah.
I try to advise people to go with the best thing and the simplest thing, and let's go with oil first, because you'll eat a salad and sit down and you'll enjoy that more if I give you a cookie or a chew or a lollipop or cannabis beverage or seltzer. But if I sit you down and talk to you and let's have a salad, and let's see how this goes, I believe my way. That's the way I approach everything, especially with the seniors. Anybody over around my age, that's the way I treat it. I do it with the oil first.
Wow. I'm so sorry.
I love that. I think that's great. I think that you're very spot on when you are talking about being, definitely more health conscious and wanting folks to be able to make good choices with something like an oil, as opposed to, going to a sweet. Like you mentioned, a lot of our senior friends, they do have diabetes, or they have, other issues that are diet related. And so they really, it's an option with sugar like that in it is probably not a good choice for them. So I think that's fantastic that, you can go with that. And I think you're right too. I kind of fall in that group as well, that I'm not a fan of the taste of marijuana. I don't want to taste that when I'm eating something. So
Yes.
I think it's great that you're able to really sit and listen to what they're saying, and then, proceed from there on what you can offer them for choices, and tell them, how they can dose it appropriately so that they'll feel good and not want to, get a high off of it, or go to sleep,
Exactly.
or any of the other side effects that sometimes we can have. So
listen, young lady, let me tell you the thing about the cannabis thing that I try to promote to all of them. How has your sleeping been?
mm-hmm.
One thing is the sleeping. Most people, when I sit down and I talk to them, and after I advise them and I set them up, the next time I talk to them, the first thing that comes out their mouth is, I had such a great sleep, Blue. I haven't slept like this in years. I said, but it was only 5 minutes and you just had the salad. What time did you have the salad? I did it just like you said. I had it about 6:30. By 8 o'clock, I was ready to lay down. I woke up this morning at 6 and I feel great. My thing is always promoting to make sure everything that you do has to benefit you.
Yeah.
It has to benefit you. Sleeping is one of the worst things once you get up there. I never knew it. Went to the Bruins game last night, and I was still up this morning at 4 o'clock like it was time to go.
Oh, no.
And I didn't think before I left. I usually would eat something before I go to sleep. I usually eat about 15 minutes every night before I go to sleep. And that gives me a great sleep. I don't like to toss and turn.
Mm-hmm.
So I do that. I try to get a lot of people like that. You need a great sleep first, and then help you focus first thing in the morning. And besides, most people don't like to eat in the morning. But if you eat an edible before you go to sleep, that'll make you get up and eat something in the morning to make your day go smoother.
Yeah.
Most people like to go through the day without eating lunchtime. I can't do that. No. Yeah. I've already had a coffee and I've had 2 eggs this morning before I got here. I have to. I have to. It's a must that we eat, Now later on this afternoon, I am making I'm preparing El Pastor tacos tonight. And I will be medicating those, getting that ready for a party tonight. And it'll all be perfectly, and I think it's 10 people tonight, and everybody have a couple tacos and go home, and it'll be great. They'll come back tomorrow and be able to sleep.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the sleep too, Michael, because as someone who, has dealt with cancer, that, you're healing when you're sleeping. Right. And so if you're not sleeping, then it's really tough for the body to heal. So it's great that you mentioned the sleep piece, because, certainly we want to make sure that if anyone is ill and suffering, that they are making sure that they're getting a good night, because that's how the body's going to heal itself.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will.
Absolutely. So we actually have a friend here was mentioning their wife had, was diagnosed with actually a tumor on their pituitary gland. And the doctor had recommended these 4-hour infusions, but instead they chose to use medical cannabis and Rick Simpson oil in particular, and that the tumor has shrunk and that it's actually completely gone. It took about 8 months and, a combination of all of their working with their physician. And now they use the edibles really to help with their rheumatoid arthritis. So love to hear that those kind of success stories and kind of those pharmaceuticals, getting away from those. So that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, the Rick Simpson oil. I met the Rick Simpson oil. I was introduced to it in August of 17 in Oregon. Eugene, Oregon. Matter of fact, I drove from Portland to Eugene. It's about a 2-hour drive, and I went up there to see a facility that they had, and I wanted to see the like Ted 3 when he goes out and sees the land full of marijuana. Well, I was able to see that acres and acres just gone. That Rick Simpson oil. There was a lady in Eugene, and I tell everybody the story. She had a tumor. And she started eating it. The thing about the Rick Simpson oil is, most people, you have to let them know. Listen, this is going to be a high like no other. It's from the top of your head to the tippies of your toes. It tinkles all through. and it's a great medicine. There was a lady in Eugene. She had to take it because there was a tumor on the side of her neck that was inside her throat, and she was eating 1 gram darts for 2 months every day. And they say one day she came in, she was at the store and it just came out. I couldn't find any record of it in a thing. It was just a picture on a wall, and they showed the lady. And they said the lady comes in all the time. She's still alive, and this was 6 years ago. So I don't know, but I know that Rick Simpson, I tried it. It's powerful.
Yeah, it's the good stuff, but it's heavy. Yeah, you only need a tiny little amount, I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah, I took maybe a drop. I had to sit down for a long while. Yeah, Rick Simpson is different, but they say it's the best thing known to man right now. If you can withstand the high, they say to give it to people that are in a lot of pain.
Yeah,
they're in a lot of pain.
Yeah,
this is something great for them to ease it instead of morphine.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
I tried to give it to my mom before she passed, but listen, some of those people, and not talking bad, but my mom's generation, the 60 and 70 plus, they believe in the doctors cold-heartedly. Like, that's Dr. Johnson. He knows everything. He wouldn't tell me wrong. I'm not saying he's wrong, Mom. I'm just telling you, maybe you should try something else. My mom did. Here's the number. My mom had 43 different pills. A 24-hour status. Her last 12 years of her life, it was 43 different pills in that big old pill box. You have to fix that. And, the last maybe 2 weeks before she passed, Garden Remedies had opened up, and I drove out to Northampton to get a salve, and I put it on her feet. And the next morning, I slept so good. Boy, why'd you put that on my feet? And she laughed and she said, Lord, I never thought it would be like that. Yeah, but that's that Rick Simpson and this oil thing. It's like the greatest.
Yeah, it's great. And I think that in a lot of areas, it's becoming a lot more readily available as well, which is good. It certainly depends what state you're in. But, I know when I first started at Medwell, it was very hard to find. And, now here we are 7 years later, and, I'm seeing it a lot more readily. Patients can purchase it now. So it's good to see it's coming out there.
It is.
Do we have a question?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I just want to. David had asked this question, and I just want to make sure that we get it answered. So he's asking, are you aware of self-emulsifying nano delivery system technology? It can instantly emulsify cannabinoids or oils into foods and medications, as well as provide taste masking properties. Interesting. Have you ever heard of that?
So we've heard of that. Wow, I want to tell you, it's not even 2 weeks ago we heard of that. I think they want to try that. We want to try that here. Masking it. We have a nano machine here as well that the lab uses. We were trying to see if we can take the original terpene from a flower and Rick Simpson oil and mask them together and put them into one to flavor the Rick Simpson, because Rick Simpson just had this earthy taste. So we're always trying to mask things. The masking thing to me, it's I don't think it's you still get the burn. How about that? I don't know how to explain that to you. We've tried it. The flavors, you don't taste the Rick Simpson oil, but you get hints of it. You don't taste the terpenes, but you get hints of it here and there as you chew. It goes back to what we were saying earlier. I'm just not a fan of the taste. I don't want anything masked or flavored in mine. I need it to be plain. I need it to be what I was thinking of. When you the reason why McDonald's is the #1 restaurant, because every time you go, it's the same taste. You don't go there for anything different. You go there for that taste. So when I eat the food that I cook at home, it has to be the same taste. I can't mask it. I've tried it before, but it just doesn't set well in the mouthpiece.
Interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah. And good to know too.
So as we kind of wrap up, Michael, tell us a little bit about Garden Remedies. Oh, hold on one second. David was saying no equipment required, and we can add a flavor profile or lessen the bitterness. Interesting.
Interesting, David. Tell David he needs to get a hold of me. Let's talk, David. We can look at you. Listen, I'm never against trying anything now. Pre-cancer, I don't want to try that. After cancer, there's nothing I won't try if it'll benefit me or somebody else. Absolutely. I'm always willing to try it,
Yeah.
Yeah, let's try it, David. You should give us a call, man. Maybe David's local. If he's local, he can always come down. We can probably give him a tour.
That'd be great.
That'd be awesome. So why don't you share a little bit about what people can find for edibles at Garden Remedies, and talk about your location as well.
Well, we're our manufacturing facility. We're in Fitchburg. We have 3 locations to purchase, which is Marlboro, Melrose, and Newton. And for the edible scene, we do carry a lot of other people in the state. But for ourselves personally, what we promote here really is this Lotus day and night. We came up with it about 1.5 years ago. We were thinking, man, like I was telling you earlier, ladies, about sleeping, about being able to make the day, depression sometimes. Sometimes you need something to uplift you, and sometimes you don't have a human to do that. But if you had your sativa edible, maybe a chew, maybe even a joint, some people like those as well. It might give you that beat to get you out of that funk that you need. People who can't sleep, we found out about that. We figured if we added the minor cannabinoids to these things here, CBN, which is now a new product on the line, which I've been knowing about since 17, because when I went to Oregon, I learned about CBN and how it's made, and how the more oil, the longer it sits. As they say, the better it gets. The thing is, set it and forget it. When you make oil, it sits there, and the longer it sits, the more CBN is going to sit there and make, because you're going to eat it again, use it. So it's going to just keep producing, so it gets a lot stronger. Okay, David, I've seen that.
No, yeah. So he was trying to connect in the way that the stream works. I can't direct message to LinkedIn, so I just wanted to make sure that, because he said he's in Milford, so that's the way you guys can connect. So, David, feel free to email me at april@medwellhealth.net, and I can connect you and Michael together. So that'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome, of course, man.
So, Michael, just some closing. Do you have any words of wisdom and for our audience about edibles? Kind of just some closing thoughts as we wrap up here.
The most important piece of information I can give you is know what you're eating before you put it in your mouth. That's the first thing I can tell you. That's the first thing you need to know. You need to know who made it. You need to know how is it dosed. To have a bad experience on marijuana is the worst.
Yeah.
Chef Blue, Michael has done it. I did it in 17. I grabbed an edible that I thought I could handle. I think it was 125 mg cookie. Oof. That wasn't what, yeah. That wasn't, that wasn't
not good.
No, that wasn't good. That was not good. No, that's not good. And remember, everybody, know what you're getting. And if you start doing it yourself, if you don't know, ask someone. My line is always open. You can reach me at Bluetopia 7 North. You can reach me on LinkedIn. You can call me. I think my number's on all my socials. My phone is on. It goes off all day. Just know what you're doing and try and educate yourself. Call somebody. Grab a group. Let everybody participate into it.
Awesome.
That's great advice. And certainly, this is why we partner with Garden Remedies, because they do have such a knowledgeable team. They're professional people over there. So certainly make sure you stop in and talk to them. They will be able to guide you. And depending on, where you are with your cannabis journey, if you're a newbie with it, certainly make sure you speak to them over there. They are all phenomenal. The whole team is great. So
thank you so much. Yes, we love what we do.
Yes, and you can
wouldn't be here this long.
tell. Yeah,
Wouldn't be here this long if we didn't love it.
absolutely.
Michael, thank you so much for your
Yes.
knowledge and your time
Mike.
today. We so appreciate it. Thank you to our audience for chiming in today, chiming in with questions and some input. If you are catching the replay, my friends, please feel free to drop a comment or a question. We'll absolutely get back to you. Emily, thank you for your time today. We will look forward to seeing you next week. We will be on live on Wednesday next week at the same time, 10 a.m. So we look forward to seeing you then. And everybody make it a great day. Thank you again. And Michael, again, many thanks. And stop by gardenremedies.com.
Thank you, ladies.
Have a great day, friends.